Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Matthew and today we're doing another figure comparison. Today we're doing a figure comparison between the Playmates Godzilla with Heat Ray and the Godzilla with Heat Ray. Alright, fine, I'll be a bit more specific. The GVK version of the Godzilla with Heat Ray, the Godzilla GVK with Radio Tower, and the GXK Godzilla with Heat Ray, the pre-evolved, obviously. So I decided to hold off on this because I usually like to drag these things out because I love to ramble. So I thought it warranted its own video anyway. And plus, there is a lot of differences, but that's primarily what. Well, okay, hold on, how to say this. There's a lot of similarities, but there's also quite a bit of differences. And if you're also wondering why we don't have some other ones up here, like the Hong Kong Battle Godzilla, the Godzilla Supercharged version, so on and so forth, it's because I don't own those ones. And I don't really desire to, maybe except the Hong Kong Battle Godzilla. That one looks epic. But at the end of the day, they're literally just retools and repaints of what is essentially the same mold we've gotten over the years. So there's really not much change. However, this guy came along and actually did some things different. So basically what we're going to be doing is taking a look at the differences between these two, and I just threw him in since I know some people would wonder what this guy's all about. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So for the Sculpt Paint, the head on all three figures, it's honestly very different as far as the plastic and the coloring. These two feature the same kind of like jet black, no like extra dry brushing or any sort of extra coloring, while this guy is like a much more gray blue type look. However, there's a bit of a difference when it comes to the shininess. This one's a bit more matte, and this one's a bit more glossy. You can really tell because of the way the neck is. And no, that's not because of like any camera trickery. See? Straight up gloss. I will say that the paint applications on them are pretty much the exact same as far as the eyes and the teeth are. Although I will say, as far as like actually the quality control is concerned, because I actually own a second GVK Heat Ray Godzilla, which I'm gonna actually pull up right now. Pay attention to this one, how the eye is like very much up, and pay attention to this one, which is the other one, and how the eye is a bit more down, and you can kind of see the teeth better. So it does very much, it does vary a lot from figure to figure, but I don't blame them. They probably mass-produce these things. Oh boy, cannot imagine working at Playmates. But for what is here, it's definitely great. And there's really not much differences as far as like the coloring on the spines at the back of the head are not colored, and it honestly just looks the same. This one actually features orange eyes, but still features the same sort of like teeth and gum paint that the other two have. You guys are gonna have to definitely forgive me for having three figures. It's hard to actually pose them when Godzilla doesn't really look straight ahead and mainly looks great from actually standing out to the side. So what I meant by in the review is when I said that this guy lost his dry brushing, you can actually kind of see it how the arms here are a lot more bare, and this one I don't think features the dry brushing, but this one does. You can actually kind of see there's a bit of a lighter bluish wash to this guy versus this one where they kind of got rid of that. And I don't really know why that's the case, why they got rid of it, but carried over almost everything else and just retooled and improved upon everything. But it is what it is. But it's also essentially the exact same, even down to the point where all of them feature the same arm position, which I think the only Godzilla in Playmates' entire MonsterVerse catalog, not counting 2014, that actually no, I think the Supercharged variant also featured the same arms. My bad. But as you can definitely see, this one does not feature the dry brushing. This one does, and this one does not. So it's kind of all washed over. Moving on down to the legs, we can definitely see more, again, what I'm talking about here. Also, it is worth noting that all of them do feature painted claws. Also, they also feature painted toenails. However, the biggest change comes in the form of the sculpt. These legs are entirely new entirely new molds because they're in an entirely new position. This one features it kind of bent back and a bit more bent forward, but they're a bit more, what's the correct term? They're a bit more neck and neck with each other. As you can kind of tell, there's not much of a gap between them. Also, there's holes at the bottom of the feet, but they do retain the same paint applications on the nails, although they are a bit more dull this go around, versus the this one, where they're kind of flipped and it's more stepped towards and actually feature a less of a gap on the feet. It's not as hollow, and also it still has the dry brushing, and the feet on this one are at least a bit more meatier than the one on the GXK. The one on the radio tower version doesn't feature the dry brushing, but features the same sort of paint and detailing and molds as this one does. And next, let's talk about the tails. Pretty straightforward. The Heat Ray Godzilla features the standard spray that goes up to the midsection of the tail and has this signature curve, kind of goes flat, stops, and curls. Same thing with this guy, except he doesn't, at least my copy, I know other copies do, but mine doesn't come with the spray. In fact, mine actually has the spray down here, but loses it. I really wonder why that is. And this one, the new one, has a different tail sculpt, has it actually kind of going down, but loops right up as soon as it gets down, raises up to the side, and then curls kind of in, almost opposite to what these guys have. And to my knowledge, that's a completely new tail sculpt, and I would actually argue that the tail sculpt on here is better than these two. But they still pull the same sort of tail thing, although I will say there's a bit more clearance room than there is here. And now, let's talk about the spines, which, as you can definitely tell, there is a bit of difference. This is the only one of these three that are translucent. In my opinion, looks the objectively the best, as far as like up catching the eye, but it's because it's translucent, you're not going to be able to see all the finer details right away. I actually used to have a little dolphin figure. Not, it wasn't a real figure, it was like a little rubber dolphin. It looked like this as far as material goes. We have the radio tower Godzilla, which is obviously in the standard gray / blue plastic, but with painted blue highlights, obviously to make it illuminating, which why would you make this one not translucent, but this one translucent is beyond me. And this one, which is almost like a fusion. What I mean by that is, it's not this one carried over. In fact, I originally said that this was the paint carried over. That's not the case. If you actually look closely, you'll see that this paint and this paint are two different shades of blue. And if I had to theorize, it's the Matthew within me. It almost kind of looks like the blue from the Heat Ray Godzilla, which is a different blue. It's hard to tell, but it is a different blue. So I had to guess that they took the spray that they used from this Godzilla, specifically on this small part of the dorsal plates, and applied it to the main fins instead of making it translucent. So essentially, it is kind of like a fusion where it has the same idea as this, but features the painting of these. So it's essentially a fusion. So to wrap up the Sculpt and Paint, to pretty much summarize, there is a bit of similarities and there's also quite a bit of differences. The main ones being that this one retools a lot of the parts like the legs and the tail, and also features some new spine molds because it's made of a different plastic. And it's kind of like a fusion between these two mixed in with new parts. So that's a part I really enjoy. And as far as articulation goes, they all feature the same. I'm just going to kind of run through it because what's the point? It's like the 15th time I've reviewed these figures. They all feature the standard hinged jaw. There's nothing different there. Same swivel shoulders, same swivel legs. The only thing that's changed is the foot joint. Here on this one, it can spin freely because it's on a circular peg, as opposed to these ones, which are on square pegs. You can twist them like less than a centimeter. Like, this is, if you try pushing it, it's just gonna split the plastic right here, so don't try. That's a square peg that's not meant to be rotated. But driving into that, is a good way to kind of segment into accessories. And all of them feature the same type of battle damage, although it is worth noting that his is a bit more shinier as far as like the blood is concerned versus, I'm going to do the Radio Tower Godzilla because again, they feature the same exact one. Notice how though this one is a bit more of a duller red than this. Yeah, that's essentially, it's a different paint application, but it's still the same type of idea because they reused the mold, it's going to be the same. But as far as the main accessories go, you think that at first glance that this guy doesn't also reuses the heat ray part, right? Again, same idea, plugging it into the into the mouth, but hold on. As far as accessories go, this one is for the original 2020 Heat Ray Godzilla. Yes, 2020. I know the movie released in 2021, but this figure released in 2020. And as you can see, it's actually, and yes, I've looked at images with the Monster Arts beam. It's essentially a simplified version of said beam. It features the same sort of like flame effects at the top, fans out the same way. Yeah, it's basically this, just flipped upside down, casted for remold, and kind of slid off the back here just to make it fit with their Godzilla. But that's kind of how it works. It's translucent blue, kind of looks like water. I do like it, and it's compatible with these two. However, this guy comes with the radio tower, which never appears in the movie, I don't believe. Yeah, it doesn't appear in the movie, so why a radio tower's here, but I don't know, probably just to make it funny. You can't hold it, but it's kind of a pain, so especially when I'm doing it with one hand. And or the other hand's fine. And this one is the new beam. As you can tell, it's a completely new sculpt. There's no theft here, or any sort of like, hey Toho, can we have this mold, etc., etc. This beam, it looks like the Mezco beam, to be honest, but it's not. And I'll plug it in very lightly because over time, as I opened and closed this, you can actually kind of start to see that mine starts to, focusing on the camera here, starts to scuff up the lower jaw paint. So be very careful when you're actually plugging this in. So over time, it will happen to yours. But as far as like that's concerned, that pretty much wraps up this video because we basically talked about everything that's really different. There's no difference in price. They're the same price, $10. Walmart, Target, Amazon, Toys R Us if your country still has it. And they're the same size. They're the same weight. They're the same everything. Same style of box, just from different movies is all. And honestly, I think if you want a more in-depth well, not in-depth comparison, but in-depth analysis between the three figures, definitely go to my YouTube channel. Well, you're watching it right now. Go to my YouTube channel, go to the Playmates playlists, and scroll through and find these guys individually. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel. Believe in Jesus, and as you want to say every day, spread the gospel. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, everyone. God bless.